Here's a question. Is the Mavic 4 Pro actually delayed? We do have a product launch in just a couple days. Why did DJI pretend not to be at NAB? I was there, I looked. We also have new news on tariffs. We've got cinema tools and a bunch of other stuff. Let's jump in. Okay, so let's get started with what's looking to be a pretty decent day. On April 16th, DJI is going to be hosting a launch announcement. They've got an event, the Light Up the Night event. So what does that actually mean? So we're probably going to be seeing a rollout of two different payloads for their industrial drones. The Spotlight and speaker modules designed for the Matrice 350. So the Matrice 350 is already a workhorse in the industry. It's got a bunch of really cool specs. It can fly for 55 minutes. It can handle a almost 3 kilogram payload. Operators can use gimbals for up and down and dual, and just it's IP55 weather resistant. It uses the O3 transmission system. It's got a 20 kilometer range. But the new Spotlight payload could kind of make it pretty revolutionary for nighttime search and rescue. I've talked a lot on the channel about the fact that we might use drones for personal cinematography, right? Vlogging and action, sports, that sort of thing. But drones really have a huge component of the market in search and rescue and emergency operations. So add in the speaker system to do kind of live voice communication, to make announcements, to tell potentially folks who are lost or in emergency situations or stuck, maybe how best to get out of those situations, or at least make them aware that help is on the way. So if you work in emergency response, this could be a big thing for you. I'll keep you updated if anything happens after April 16th, but you might want to take a look at that. Keep your calendar clear. Next, I've talked on this channel a lot about the NDAA, or at least DJI's relationship with the federal government here in the United States. Some of that being received positively, some of it negatively, right? We talked about the potential for a ban. We've talked about the update on that ban, which is now a review process. And on that front, DJI has sent an open letter to 5 security agencies in the United States, including the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Defense, requesting that their products be immediately evaluated for the National Defense Authorization Act's December 2025 deadline. Remember, that's the deadline in the NDAA that was passed last year that says, hey, we're not going to outright ban these products, but you need to absolutely have them reviewed before the end of the year, this year, 2025, or face that ban, right? The ban didn't go away. It just kicked the can down the road a year with the expectation that DJI would get their products evaluated by some security apparatus here in the United States. And I mentioned that that might be difficult considering everything else that's going on within federal bureaucracy at this time. Again, no matter where your politics land, I think we can all kind of be on the same page that DJI drones getting evaluated for their security situation might not top of the list right now. And this is critical for DJI because if they fail to complete this evaluation before the end of the year, DJI products are going to be listed in the FCC's covered list, their entities list, which means that they would be restricted from being sold here in the United States, meaning new products, new FCC approval requests would not be something they could move forward with. Right, and DJI brought up in this letter that their flight logs, their images, videos, really anything you produce in a flight isn't synced over to DJI servers unless the user specifically opts in. They also brought up the local data mode, which blocks internet connections and basically keeps all of your stuff kind of firewalled. And while a lot of the conversation about DJI products have been around security, this is a huge US market, right? There's $116 billion in economic activity annually that's associated with this industry and about 450,000 jobs. So I'll keep watching it closely. I'll let you know if I hear anything more. But in addition to the issues related to security, there's also additional economic impact as it relates to tariffs. Now, I'll preface this by saying that these things are changing really quickly. So anything I say, basically by the time I stop hitting record, is going to be stale. So I'm going to do my best to be as kind of general as possible because these things are bouncing all over the place, not unlike the US stock market. And so while I've read reports that DJI drone prices could go up as much as 34% in the wake of tariffs. I mean, we just read this morning that there have been tariffs now placed only on Chinese products that China has placed retaliatory tariffs on those tariffs. I don't know. I think at this point you could expect a drone that's coming from China to cost like 3x what it would normally cost. But I don't know, because we're still waiting for all of that to kind of go into effect. And obviously there's going to be negotiations and there's going to be this whole process that'll go in. Some tariffs have been delayed for 90 days. We don't really know, but not unlike the FCC discussion, if you're purchasing a product that has already come into the United States, technically, you should not have to pay a tariff on it. So if you go down to Best Buy tomorrow and buy a DJI drone or anything that would be potentially impacted by a Chinese tariff, they didn't pay a tariff on that. So if they're charging you the new price, they're just going to make money, which is, I mean, that's how this works sometimes. But if they try to restock that shelf, then they're going to potentially pay the tariff and they're going to have to give that or pass that on to you. Next up, let's talk about DJI's kind of creative tools in 2025. So I attended the 2025 NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters show here in Las Vegas. DJI was definitely there. You couldn't swing a stick without seeing one of their gimbals or the Action 5. There were lots and lots of DJI products on the floor. What you didn't see, at least not up high, was the DJI name.
So just very interesting to take a look at all the gear at the DJI booth that isn't labeled DJI. I didn't see one drone. It was all just Ronin and Osmo. Interesting.
But they were showing off the RS4 Mini. They had a whole area where you could pick up and play with the Ronin 4D and use it in kind of a moving situation to kind of demonstrate the stabilization. They had suction cups attached to cars, everything you'd expect from a big full-size conference booth. And for production teams with bigger budgets, the Ronin 4D, the 6K system, has just been dropped actually from $6,699, so $6,700 down to $5,000 flat. So it's like a 25% reduction in cost. So if you're looking for a 6K system, kind of built-in stabilization, the Ronin 4D 6K is available for a new price. Because when we talk about their stabilization systems, or we talk about the LiDAR and the AF tracking and all that sort of stuff, that thing kind of has everything in one package. Right? It has the 4-axis stabilization, it has LiDAR, both for focusing and low light, all that stuff. It really just has a little bit of everything, which is why it's not a surprise that they were able to announce now that they're continuing to add new products into their list of Netflix approved creation devices. Right? Netflix has a huge show called Adolescence, which is kind of a one-take series, right? Everything is a oneer in that show, and they're using the Ronin 4D. They also had the updates to the Osmo Mobile 7 there. Again, not a lot of DJI branding, but lots of Ronin and lots of Osmo at NAB this year. Which was interesting because the Inspire 3 has been approved for Netflix 4K originals. It's approved the Zenmuse X9 8K camera, and it's the first drone that's officially been certified, but it wasn't present at the show. There were no drones at the show. Now, shifting gears really quick away from cinematic production and talking a little bit more about gear, but still on the topic of drones, the DJI Flip, their little but not littlest little drone that they came out with last year, has come out with its latest firmware update. There's no big feature improvements here, but it does improve flight stability and reliability and performance. And this is pretty common, right? They just kind of continue to iterate on the firmware in the drone, just making it run a little bit better. But one thing I want to mention is that if you are doing this firmware update, it's going to reset all of your camera settings. So check your presets, make sure that you've got things saved, you've got things tweaked just the way you like them. Be prepared for that, potentially get it wiped out and be able to plug those back in after the firmware update. All right, finally, the big story. We're taking a closer look at the Mavic 4 Pro. We've got more leaked images. We've got listings that talk about the RC Pro 2 controller. It's gonna have a 7-inch extendable touchscreen. It's got a scroll wheel. We don't know if that's for the camera control system, if it's for aperture, if it's for the ND filter, which we'll talk about in a second, right? We just don't know what it's for. But it's a cool looking controller and it's gonna be bundled with the Creator Combo. And pricing wise, again, pre-tariffs, we're looking at somewhere between $2,200 and $2,800. for the standard combo because we don't know where these tariffs are going to land. 3,200 probably for the Fly More combo, and then for the Creator combo, which will likely have the Cine, up to 50, maybe 5,400. Again, this has all been thrown into flux because of the tariff situation. But the Creator combo looks like it's going to be coming with the flight batteries, the ND filters, right? All the good stuff. But for release dates, the rumor mill was that we would see it in March. March is over. April is here, or well into April. And I don't know. There's kind of just a big cloud over all announcements, especially for big products that are not only from China, but also there's some political energy around this market in general. Put a comment down below if any of these updates caught your attention, if it's the leaks, if you're interested in anything regarding my trip to NAB and my experience at the DJI/Ronin/Osmo booth. I'd love to hear your thoughts. A lot of leaked information that we're getting from various folks, especially Jasper Ellens, now doing his duty for Drone XL, as well as Igor Bogdanov over at Quadro News. Links to all their profiles down below. But that's it for the DJI news today. Don't forget to find me on all of the social media platforms. I will be releasing some videos from my experience at NAB, which was super fun. I've got some interesting insights into the YouTube algorithm, the use of AI, and some of the products that I saw while I was there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got memberships down below as well, but the easiest and freest way to support the channel is to go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, check out any of the links that I have down below, comment, all the things, send all the signals, right? And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.